Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are our stories and adventures. So welcome to Moose Flats Farm. And today we're gonna do some canning of zucchinis. And the recipe that I'm using is going to be from the Ball Cooking or Home Preservation book. I did finally step up because they have two different versions of this out there. You've got the spiral one that I've just upgraded to, that lies flat on your countertop, makes it so much easier than this version of it. Well, you can tell the recipes I use the most, but you have to kind of squish the book flat, which kind of breaks the spine. So I did upgrade to the spiral one. This one I think on Amazon is about $24, where the spiral one is $32, so a little bit of an upgrade. So the recipe that we're going to be doing today is the Zany zucchini pickles. And in it, it's got turmeric, celery seed, mustard seed. So I have gone through and washed all the zucchinis. I'm going to go through and get 14 cups of them cut into little pickle strips. And because I'm going to be doing them in these pint-sized jars, the strips will be cut just to fit right down in there. So I'll be back in a second after I've got all these chopped up. Okay, I've gone through and gotten all the zucchini cut into pickle spears. And I didn't use this one because it's just really spongy and seedy. Got a little bit away from me. So I could scoop the meat out and use it, but I've got plenty here. Do something with it for dinner. And when you're doing anything with pickling, you want to make sure that you're using salt that is specifically for pickling, because if you use regular iodized salt, you'll get cloudy pickles and it just looks weird. So the next step is we're going to do a layer of zucchinis, sprinkling the pickling salt over the top of it, fill it with cold water, and then just let it sit for about 2 hours, and then we'll start the next step. And like I said, this is about 14 cups, unless I lost track on my counting, and it could be 16, but the recipe calls for 14. Okay, I'm going to go over to the sink, fill this up, and okay, so we'll just let this soak in the salt water mixture and for about 2 hours, and then we'll be back to make the brine and get the pickles going. Okay guys, so the next step is going to be doing the brine. We're about a half an hour out on the zucchinis soaking in the salt water. So I'm going to turn the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and I forgot when I was listing the ingredients, the very important one is the vinegar, because without vinegar they're not pickles. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see, get this brine going. So we're going to add 6 cups of distilled white vinegar. So I am going to turn the element on high. And then 4 cups granulated white sugar. Oops. 4 teaspoons of mustard seed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 teaspoons celery salt, or celery seed, not celery salt. And 2 teaspoons of ground turmeric, which is going to give it that lovely pretty yellow color. So we'll let this come up to a boil, get the sugar dissolved, and then you'll boil it for 5 minutes, and then be about time to rinse the zucchinis and get them added. So now that it's come up to a boil, you'll want to turn the temperature down. You still want it to continue to boil for about 5 minutes to get the mustard seed and the fennel and the dried turmeric rehydrated and get their flavors mixed into the vinegar. Okay, so it's been the 2 hours that these guys have been soaking here on the countertop. We're going to put them in the colander, rinse them off, and I'm going to put them back in this big bowl, and then we'll get them over and into the oven. And I just washed my hands, so nice and clean, because you want to make sure everything is clean so you don't get contamination in your stuff. Careful breathing in vinegar steam. It's a bit sharp. So I'm going to carefully just layer our zucchinis in. them a little stir just to get them all down in there. We'll put the lid back on, turn the heat off, take them off the heat, and they'll sit on the counter for an hour, and then we'll move everything up to the seed shed. So let's actually go up there and I'll show you how I've got it set up there and get the canner going. So up here in the seed shed, that's now going to be my canning room. I do have the big black fan blowing, ceiling fan up there blowing, so it's not too bad in here temperature wise. So I've got the table cleaned up. I've gone through and bleach sterilized the table. I have my rings, the lids, some towels in case I need, ladling spoons, a funnel, a tray, just to help control the mess. And I do have this convection element that I'll turn on low when I bring the pot up, just so that way everything stays nice and hot. And I do have the pickling crisp granules. It's 1/8 of a teaspoon. Since I don't have an 1/8, we're just going to use 1/2 of a 4th. And I did get one of those magic screen for on here just to keep some of the bugs out. But out here, got our pressure canner that's connected to a propane bottle. Got, can't really see, but I've got 9 jars in there. And the recipe only calls for 6, but I figure since I'm sterilizing, I might as well throw a couple extra in case, like I said down there, I did 16 cups instead of the 14 cups of the zucchinis. And then I've got my table with the towel and another tray needed, the jar removal tool, and that will be just a spot for them to go on to once they've been processed. So for the next little bit, we're gonna let the canner come up to temperature. It's gonna probably take it about the hour that the zucchinis need to be soaking in the brine. So we'll be back in just a couple seconds to get them in the jars and get them canned. Okay guys, so I have brought the zucchinis out here, have them on the convection cooker, just bringing them back up to a boil. Gonna boil them for about 5 minutes, just till the zucchinis are cooked all the way through. The water bath canner is almost to a boil, so we're almost to the point that we can get these guys started processed. Okay, so this has come up to temperature. The canner has come up to a boil. I have sanitized my jars and they are really hot. So you definitely want to make sure that everything is clean and sanitized, just for health reasons. So let's start getting these jars filled. And I did take one of the pints of water that I actually added as an extra and poured it on into this vessel to soften the wax so we can get a good seal on it. I've only got 6 in here, so if I need to, I can add the other 2. And I'm going to try filling the jars with these salad forks. So I'm going to go through and fill my jars with the zucchini first, and then we'll come back and add the hot liquid. Okay, so I have leftover zucchini, so I'm going to go through and backfill some of these. So now we're going to go through and ladle the brine on. You want to leave about a 1/4 inch head space. Before I forget, let's get this crisper added. Okay, so I'm going to use this spatula to just run along the sides, just trying to remove any air bubbles, and then we'll go back through and top dress these to make sure we're at the 1/4 inch head space. Okay, now let's just fill these guys up. That guy's about right. Okay, they all look pretty good. So now I'm going to take this paper towel, get it damp, wipe all the rims off so that way I get a good seal when I put the lids on them. Just want to make sure there's no juice from the brine or any zucchinis on it, so that way you just get a good nice seal. That one might be just a little full. Okay, so those look good. Let's get our lids and rings on. And when you do this, you go finger tight and then a quarter turn. Now they're ready to go out in the canner. Okay, we'll place these guys in. And hope we don't overflow with water. Okay, definitely got enough head space on it because you only usually want about 1 inch. So I am going to scoop some of this water out and try not to burn myself. That should be good. Now we'll put the lid on it and let it come up to a boil. It will process for 10 minutes. We'll turn it off, take the lid off, let it sit for 5, and then pull them out of the water and we'll see what our zucchini pickles look like. So, as you see, we've reached the point of an active rolling boil. Gonna set our handy dandy trusty timer for 10 minutes and then we'll be back to turn this off and take the lid off and let them start to cool down. Okay, so it's been the 10 minutes. Gonna turn the flame off. We'll wait the 5 minutes and pull them out. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. And it looks like all the jars stayed sealed. Actually, let's move you guys so you can see. Now, that looks very pretty. So I like setting my jars upside down for like the first 10 minutes as they've come out of the water bath and start to cool, and then I'll flip them over. I just find it really helps with the wax ring seal being locked in, because all that heat is right on it. Then when I flip it over, it really, and then I will check my rings to make sure everything is good and tight when I flip them back over. So that's the basics of doing a zucchini pickle. This is a new recipe. I've not tried this one before, so here in about a month we'll do a taste test and see how they turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll be back with our next adventure in a couple days. Bye for now.